Go ahead, turn it up. It's the Record Machine Show with your host, Jimmy Howe.
If you step inside my mind, you gon' have to realize it's been beaten down a couple hundred times. It ain't pretty, it can get a little shifty, thoughts a little cryptic. May not wanna witness all the battles I be living. Fully crowded room, but I'm the only person in it. Crying out for help, it gets so deafening to hear it. But on the outside I be chillin', never backing down because I know there will be healing. Keeping it a million, never knew that I was tripping. Laughing out loud, but the smile is always missing. I'm slipping out of this straight jacket. I'm slipping out of this straight jacket. Now watch me unpack it. Living wild and free, I done beat the sadness habit. Mine was in a cage, now the bird is out the attic. Headed to an attic, now I'm flying like a maverick. In a crowded room with all my homies and my family. Smiling while I'm laughing, found the treasure in the panic. Took all my depression, sank it down like the Titanic. I'm slipping out of this straight jacket. I'm slipping out of this. Eagle status, shedding all the static. Coming back stronger like a roided gym addict. Spreading out my wings, I can see the freedom landing. Flying so high, John Cena with the hand kid. When I'm touching down, demons tremble where I'm standing. Flexing how I'm talking, I done took away the bandage. Looking back at them, it's like you gonna need a bandage. Living out these scars and victory, I'll always drag them. I'm slipping out of this straight jacket. I'm slipping out of this straight jacket. I'm slipping out, I'm slipping out, I'm slipping out of this straight jacket.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from co-host, singer, multi-instrumentalist, James Templeton. James, how you doing?
Hey, is this James?
Yes, sir.
Or do you go by Jimmy? I was just looking at your website.
My real name is James, but everybody calls me, like my family and my wife, they call me Jimmy.
Yeah.
But
I used to go by Jim.
yeah, it's as I got older, I didn't mind people calling me by my formal name because when I was born, the state that I lived in, they didn't allow nicknames on a birth certificate. And back then, Jimmy was considered a nickname. So my mom had to put James on the birth certificate. She really wanted to call me Jimmy, but they wouldn't allow it. So
Yeah. I guess in 5th grade, one of the teachers started calling me Jim, and then it didn't bother me. So I was like, cool. And then later in life, I was like, I kind of like James. I don't know, just my original, my original name.
Yeah. Plus, when you're older, like my grandmother, she used to call my father Johnny all the time, and he was like, in his 50s. That's like what you call to me. That's what you call a little kid. His name is John, but you'd be like Johnny, So
I know my brother's name is John, and he hated being called Johnny.
Yeah. Some people like it. Some people don't.
I like it. I kind of like Johnny.
Yeah, that's not bad.
One of my best friends, his name is Johnny, but anyways.
Well, you think about it, like Johnny Cash, right? It probably wouldn't have sounded as cool, just John Cash, right?
Right. It doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah, Johnny Cash has more, of a ring to it than just John Cash, So where are you from originally?
So I was born in Minnesota.
Okay.
And I lived there until I was like right around the end of 5th grade. We moved to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent the rest of my time, middle school and high school in Georgia, like near Augusta, Georgia, where the Masters is at.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to college there, and then I went to school for graphic design, actually.
Nice.
And in the meantime, I started doing music, and I was doing music all along. I was raised in a musical family.
Mm-hmm.
So, all my uncles played like old country, bluegrass, picking, gospel stuff. And my dad's a classical pianist, so that's where it all kind of started. And then I just kind of found a niche for songwriting, and then I moved to Atlanta.
Nice.
And then I hopped around with my wife for a little bit, went to LA, and then we ended up in Nashville.
Nice area there.
It is. It's great. We've been here about 13 years.
Very cool. And how old were you when you first got involved in playing music?
I started, playing piano when I was about 5.
Oh, wow.
My dad would teach my brother and I, But of course, I was like, no, I don't want to do piano. I'd rather play drums. All the other stuff, seems more fun. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I started then. And then as I got into high school, wrote a couple songs. And then I got to college and was in several bands and just kind of started homing it in. And now I'm here. I do, the co-host thing. I also have actually another project. It's James and the Wild Spirit, which is like country rockabilly.
Nice
stuff. So I do a lot of different stuff. I do producing and writing for people. So.
Very cool. Now, who are some of your biggest musical influences and how have they shaped your sound, would you say, or your style?
I mean, definitely, I'm a huge fan of U2 and Radiohead, all those kind of Britpop bands. And, but then also like a lot of like, early Commodores and Kool and the Gang. I was raised on like 90s hip hop.
Nice.
Too. That's what I grew up listening to. So that's a lot of the influences, some of the funk, 70s funk stuff and hip hop. Mm-hmm. Then there's a rock element to it, I've been, in several indie rock bands and Britpop bands, and so I think that's kind of where a lot of the inspiration comes from.
Nice. Now tell me about the band. When did you guys form and who were the players?
So Co-Host kind of started with, it was actually just me, because I had been doing just writing and producing for other people, and I just wanted to, and I was doing the country rockabilly thing, James and the Wild Spirit, but I've been writing a bunch of other stuff, and I was just like, I wanted to create something that I could, like an umbrella to release these other songs under, and that was Co-Host. And so it started about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I started writing the songs, some of the songs you hear, but most of the songs that have been released are newer stuff. But the concept started then, and then I brought in one of my old buddies that played in one of my bands. He's a bass player and lyricist, Chris Collins, mm-hmm. and he came on board about three years ago, and then we kind of just worked on writing and recording, getting the songs right, and then we released a record or a single actually, and then one of our Chris's mother passed away.
Oh, sorry.
So we kind of put it on hold for a little bit, and then I was doing other projects at the same time, so it kind of just took a little. So not until like last year when we released Lost Diamond as a full length record, which you can find on Spotify. I don't know if you've listened to it, but mm-hmm. It's got a lot of funk and that stuff in it. But that started really last year. So, I mean, we've kind of been going at it for about 2 years, really. But we got a lot planned for this year. We have like at least 30 songs to release.
Wow.
And we have one actually coming up next Tuesday, mm-hmm. on the 30th. It's called Straight Jacket. And that hip hop I was talking about, you're going to hear some of that in there. And it's still got the funk element in it too. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it. I sent over.
Yeah, I listened to it this morning. It's great. I like it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Now,
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Now, let's talk about the name. What's the story behind the name Co-Host?
Well, the whole idea of Co-Host was like, it was just me to begin with. And I wanted it to be like a revolving door for musicians to come through.
Okay.
That I could co-host with, like kind of make music together. And that's kind of the idea of it, is to have people come in. So then like Robbie, the guy that's doing the rapping on that particular song that's coming out, Straight Jacket. Like he came in, and I've got some plans for other people to come through, and it'd be probably more of like a feature type thing, more so than they're joining the band. But that was the basis of Co-Host, is this to, work with other people and collaborate.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
So
very cool. Now, in 2022, you guys released your debut album, Lost Diamond. Since then, you've released a couple of singles. Now, you said you had written a bunch of songs. Do you plan on releasing another full-length album? And if so, when can we expect it?
We're going to be releasing several singles over the next few months. And then probably in the summer, we'll probably do an EP.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we're going to do a full-length. Sometimes, releasing full-lengths is tough because, certain songs get overlooked because in this day and age, people are just used, it's like the 50s again. It's like singles. People want like one song, they can digest like one or two songs, and then they're on to something else.
Right.
Unless you have like your really deep, like active listeners, and they want to listen to everything you have. So I think that's the plan, is to do singles and EP, some more singles, and maybe we'll do a full length. We'll see. It is a lot of songs to release, in a year, 30 songs.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
So it may require releasing a full length or 2 EPs, maybe. It's just easier for people to digest and get their head around.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, 30 songs. That's like 3 albums worth.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, just pumping them out, which is good because we have like a TV and film licensing company that we work with. So the more that we're kind of putting out, it helps them, helps us. Right. So that's kind of why we're doing it. And it's just, exciting to release new music. And people seem to be, coming along board and listening and engaging with us. So it's been really cool. So I'm excited for this year. I think it's going to be a good year. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing those songs. Now, how do you go about composing a new song? Does the melody come first or the lyrics?
Most of the time it's usually, I either sit down at the piano or I'll sit down with my guitar. Most of the time it's a guitar. It'll start there. I'll usually get a melody, and it's a lot of fumbling kind of through. I'll record it and I'll hear something in it and I'll be like, oh, or sometimes there is, this is when I'm writing for myself. And then I'll hear something, or I'll have a topic, that I want to write about. But most of the time it starts with a melody and just a kind of a chord structure, chord arrangement, some kind of cool, fun hook that I want to use. And sometimes lately several songs have come out of just lyrics, and then I find the arrangement and the melodies after the fact, So, but most of the time it's usually just a melody because I'm a singer. So usually I'm hearing something every day, all the time.
Always hearing those voices in your head, huh? Ideas.
Yeah, so many voice memos on my phone. just like, what was that? That's like garbage. Okay. Or, oh, that's great, So, that's usually the way the process starts, is just hearing something or one little phrase, and I record it and just build around that. And I do all the producing, engineering. I have a studio here in Nashville. So I do all the producing and writing, engineering, and the mixing. I do have another buddy that I do sometimes throw songs to, Mark Watrous. He plays in a band called The Shins.
Nice.
And he'll do some of the mixing and mastering and stuff for me. It just depends on the songs. Like he mixed Lost Diamond. He mixed and mastered that. 'Cause it was just so many songs that it was just too much for me to tackle.
Wow. Very cool.
So,
now, besides the guitar and the piano, are there any other tools or instruments that are essential in your songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely for this funk stuff. I play a lot of different instruments because I was just around a lot of instruments growing up. But I would definitely say bass. Bass is probably almost the number one instrument besides, the melody and the arrangement of the song. But the bass is what really holds down the funk element to what we're doing. So yeah, but usually I'll go in and I'm tracking. It's usually after I have the kind of melody and the arrangement, then I focus in on the bass. And then, I'll have a beat that's going, and then I'll go play the drums and record those. But yeah, for Lost Diamond, and most of the songs I've written, I played all the instruments and wrote most of it myself. So
very cool. Now let's talk about a couple of songs. This podcast will feature 2 of your tracks, the new one, Straight Jacket, and Out My Head. What's the story behind those 2 songs?
So Out My Head, it's just those times, like, I was just thinking about, like, growing up, and you hear your parents, like, saying, do this or don't do that. And it was just those kind of things. And as you get older, you look back, and sometimes, when you're young, you're like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And now that I'm older and I'm looking back on it, I see the wisdom in a lot of the stuff that they said. And it's just like, those are the thoughts, and those things are comforting to me, too, in a way. Mm-hmm. Those echoes of their voices kind of, they're not all bad, like, don't do this, but, just the encouragement that I got from them or whatever it was, it's that kind of concept is like, I can't get them out of my head, like in the bridge of that song, Out My Head, it's like, don't let me catch you in that community house dancing with those heathens. That came from there was a community house behind my house when I was in high school, and they always threw dance parties back there, like right behind my house. And they would always be like, don't you go over there? And of course I would sneak out and go over there and dance. But, it's like those little things that I would remember them saying. And so that's actually where that little part came from in that song, actually, just a little behind the scenes.
Nice.
So that's kind of the basis of Out My Head is, those echoes of your loved ones, friends and family, that kind of concept. And Straight Jacket, which is coming up, that's definitely a heavier song. It's Chris Collins, he plays bass, and then Robbie, the guy that Robbie Burns, he raps on it. The 3 of us were just in the studio and just talking about mental health and, like, some of the depression that I was walking through and some of that they were walking through and the sadness that they've dealt with in their life. And that's really, it really kind of tackles the struggles with depression and deep sadness. So check on your loved ones, and your family, even if they seem like they're happy and they're smiling, sometimes under the hood, it's a lot different. And that's the kind of concept of Straight Jacket is that, hey, man, help your friends out, help your family out, even strangers, like, help them get out of that straight jacket, help them unzip it and get out of that, because that's what it can feel like when you're depressed or struggling mentally is you're kind of locked up, kind of in a straight jacket. And so hopefully that hits for people that, when they listen to Straight Jacket, that they'll know that they're not alone and they can slip on out of that straight jacket.
Now, will there be a music video for Straight Jacket? I think that would be a good idea, especially for, mental health awareness.
Yeah, we are working on that, actually. It's just been crazy getting all these songs ready and stuff. But that is in the works to have a video for that song. Yeah,
I think that would be great, especially if you put like the number, like a 800 number for people to call if they are dealing with some mental health and the issues and stuff like that. Because, I mean, let's face it, we all have problems. Some of us are just better at dealing with them than others. And that doesn't make the people weak. It's just sometimes they have nowhere to turn to.
Exactly, and I've definitely been there. I was there, like a year and a half ago. So I know how that feels. But yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that would definitely send a message out too. And even if you help one person, right?
Exactly, it's worth it.
It's definitely worth it.
And that's the reason I do music is to help people, give people joy and something to connect to and they can relate to, and hopefully that's what the music is doing.
Music is medicine. When you're feeling down and depressed, you put on a song of one of your favorite artists. It might lift your spirits, at least in the moment, right?
For real, yeah. for sure.
Now, do you guys got any shows coming up that you want to talk about?
Yeah, if you live in the Nashville area, Friday, February 23rd, we have a show here at Star Rover Sound, which is attached to the Optimist, and it's Ford Fry. I don't know if you know who that is. He's like a Michelin star chef, but it's his restaurant and his club, so we're gonna play there. And then we have a couple shows here in Nashville after that coming up, but no, there's no tour or anything like that. But we're working on some of those things right now.
Have you played the 8th Room yet?
I have not played the 8th Room.
You should check that place out. A good guy.
I've been there.
Yeah, Jason Hollis owns it. He's a good guy. He's from L.A., but he moved to Nashville and he opened up that place. It's getting a lot of good reviews.
Yeah, the 8th Room is kind of like a rock and roll room. Mm-hmm. Kind of vibes. Yeah, I definitely dig that place. It's cool. Awesome. Where are you based out of? I'm in
North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay.
I used to be in New Jersey. I lived in New Jersey for, like 48 years. And then I moved down here 5 years ago. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had kind of a Jersey accent, but
yeah. Yep.
Get out of that cold.
Oh, yeah. I don't have to shovel that white shit anymore.
I know, man.
every winter up to my kneecaps, shoveling snow in New Jersey. And I haven't seen snow since I've been down here. One day there was like white flurries for like 20 minutes, but it didn't do anything,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Nashville just thawed out.
Yeah.
We had a huge, that whole winter storm that came through. It was pretty, but those are the good times to get in the studio and
make new music and stuff like that.
Make new music. That's what I did last night. It's a problem. They just keep coming and keep coming. See, but that's a good problem to have.
Oh yeah, you always got to keep those creative juices flowing, right?
Yeah, we definitely want to plan to get down towards South Carolina and Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably play some shows down there.
Yeah, we got a House of Blues in North Myrtle Beach. That might be a good venue for you guys.
That would be cool.
If I can get a hold of some contact information, I'll email it to you.
That would be fantastic, man. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Now, do you guys got a website that you'd like to promote?
Yeah, they can go to cohostmusic.com. Mm-hmm. And there you can find all the social links, any of the streaming platforms that you use, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, all that stuff. And then there's some videos that are posted there. And then, there's any of our social media handles are going to be at Co-Host Music.
Nice.
So it's pretty easy.
Nice. Now, is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
There's not. I mean, just that we have a new single coming out the 30th of this month. So next Tuesday, Straight Jacket. And the following month, we'll probably have another single coming out. There's a couple up for debate which ones we're going to put out, but I think it's going to be called Young Lovers. So it's going to have a lot of synth in it, synth pop kind of stuff, but still the funk. Got to have the funk.
Oh yeah, George Clinton in Parliament, man.
Yeah, I remember riding the MARTA in Atlanta, and he was on there for some reason. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's George Clinton.
Yeah, that cat's cool.
He is.
James, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really dig your band. I think it's great, and I'm looking forward to hearing more great stuff from you guys in the future. And you got my number and my email. Let's stay in touch. I'd love to have you guys back on the show again.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having us on the Record Machine, man. I appreciate it so much.
No problem, man. Stay in touch, all right?
All right, I will. Thanks.
All right, have a good one.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Howell Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.